How's it going, people? This is me again, and I'm coming at you with another video. This one will be covering the Season 1, Episode 2 review of Under the Dome, titled The Fire. And the title is exactly what you would think it would be. There's a fire in the dome, and yeah. But I'll get into that later. In this video, really, I'll just be reviewing it. It does contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, I would suggest watching it before, or else you just might get something spoiled. Alright, but first thing that happens is Angie, Joe's brother, is still locked in the bomb shelter, and no one knows. And she tries to get out, but doesn't. She's not able because he brings down the plate into the shelter thing, and because he actually doesn't think he's crazy, but he thinks he's helping Angie, but in actuality he's really not. So he still thinks that he's helping her, so he's bringing her food and stuff. And Angie, as soon as he gets in, Angie grabs a tray and pushes it against him. Tries to escape. However, the top of the shelter is still locked, so she's not able to. Junior is able to get her again and lock her back down. This time, chaining her to the bed, which is there, so she won't be able to try to pull that again. But yeah, so she's still in there for the entire episode. I'm not too sure. Uh, this episode, I don't think really anything really happens. I know, yeah, nothing I think too interesting happens. Although I'm trying to think because I'm recording this after I've already seen the up to episode 7. So I'm trying to remember what happened in this episode. I believe not actually that many things happen. I um I I'm sorry, hold on. But I do believe that the girl and the boy who are having seizures, I think they meet in this episode. I am not 100% sure, so um yeah, they do meet in this episode. They like hang out and stuff because the girl is like embarrassed or whatever to be around the moms who are lesbians and stuff. So she's just hanging around. She come across this him and she goes, "I need a place to stay. Can I stay here?" And um, Joe's friend, he's like, "Dude, this is pretty sweet, man. You're gonna get a date and stuff." He's like, "Shut up." And yeah, so they end up staying together, and um uh this episode was okay. I really honestly didn't think it was that good this episode because not really that much stuff happens in it. Um, well, a few stuff does happen, honestly. There's a priest. That's pretty bad news. He, the priest and um, Big Jim. I don't know if I mentioned him in the first episode or not, but Big Jim is the father of what's his face of Junior, and Junior, of course, locked her down there. So, and Big Jim doesn't know, but Big Jim, and the priest are actually actually have a business doing meth and stuff. They sell meth to get money, and they um they are trying to get rid of. They don't want to do it anymore, so they kind of just they're trying to stop doing it. But oh yeah, I forgot to mention the other episode that Duke, the town sheriff, I think it's a sheriff, but yeah, the town sheriff, he touches the dome at the very end of the first episode, and that's when you first find out that if you're like holding anything electrical and you touch the dome, the thing electrical will start to shake, and then it'll explode. And the sheriff Duke, he has a peacemaker, and he ends up the peacemaker inside his chest ends up blowing up, and they at the end of the first episode they try to help him, but he's obviously dead, sadly. And yeah, so his office is now like being ravaged through and stuff, and not and everyone's sad. But there's so that means there's one less person alive in the dome again. But yeah, Duke kind of has like records and stuff that they were doing the meth lab, and the priest goes in there and tries. He's looking for the stuff, and he ends up finding it underneath the drawer, and so he burns it. But the priest is kind of retarded. He he finds the paper and he like sets it on fire, which is not the worst idea to get rid of it, but he sets it on fire, puts it in a trash can, and okay, so get this. As he is leaving the room that Duke is in, he kicks the trash can with the fire in it. He kicks it like into the window where there's a curtain, and the curtain catches on fire, and eventually, and he gets like scared. He grabs like a coat and he like tries to like fling it and stuff to try to get out the fire. To no avail, and he the coat thing gets caught on fire and it's like burns his hands or whatever. So he throws it, and he throws it into the door, and now the door's on fire. So really, the entire room is on fire. So he's like dying. Well, he's probably going to die, but of course there are people around that area, so they call and say that there's a fire, and so everyone goes there. They're trying to do their stuff, try to keep out the fire. Barbie, supposedly the hero, um, he like tries to he like tells everyone to get their gardening hoses or whatever and try to wash out the fire. However, that does not really work that well. So, and someone has a pool nearby though, so they got like buckets and they try to like dump them on the fire. That doesn't. It kind of works. I mean, everything works, but uh, yeah. So they're trying to do that, and now I have to think about it. I think this is the episode where the two kids meet. That's this one or the next episode, but they do meet. They're staying together, and Big Jim eventually, because he's like the town councilman or whatever, and he takes a tractor and he rams into the house, like takes it down to try to cover the fire, and yes, so he does end up saving the town, and the town's fine. The only death really happens later on in the episode. Um, however, oh yeah, the priest does get out alive. The priest does get out alive. He does not burn to death or get crushed to death when the house comes down. The a cop, which is a girl, she ends up taking she actually ends up taking what do you call it? But she ends up becoming the town sheriff or whatever, and so and she saves the priest from dying, and yeah, so he's still alive. The very end of the episode, everyone's all happy. They just saved the fire from blowing up the no, not blowing up, but like catching more fire because there hasn't been rain in Chester's Mill for a very, very long time, and so they're happy that they got the fire out, so it didn't spread very far, possibly killing people. But there's a crazy cop or whatever who ruins the moment. And is like, safe? How are we safe? This dome killed like 12 people already. It's gonna kill a lot more. And he's like, look, there's no way we can get out of it. There's no hope. The dome's like trapping the smoke in, and we'll end up dying in here, everyone. And so he shoots. He has a gun with him because he's a policeman, of course. He shoots the gun towards the dome or whatever, and the dome does not break, of course. And he shoots another bullet. He shoots it, and it bounces right off the dome and it hits a police officer right in the chest, and ends up killing him. And that's how the episode ends, with yet another death. But it's really, the police officer wasn't that important, but just like enough to, you know, um, get a death in the episode and stuff. But yeah, that's where the episode ends. So Honestly, that wasn't my favorite episode. I did like the fire, like when it caught fire, but really that was all that kind of happened. I think, like I said, I watched it like a couple, like 5 weeks ago. Not really sure if that was all that happened, but I think that's all that happened. But yeah, so that's the end of this review. I'll see you in the next review, whatever it is, and I hope you enjoyed my next video, and I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time, and peace out.